Game one. We've heard from Bruce Bochy. Here are the highlights. Tony Gwynn, second career World Series. Torrey's second World Series in 3 years. Sammy Sosa throwing out the first pitch. David Wells, 3-0 in the postseason so far. The starter for the Yankees. Top of the first. Pods threatening, but he gets Ken Caminiti to get out of the first inning. Bottom of the second. Still no score. Bases loaded for Ricky Leday. Starting in left field. Not Raines, not Spencer, not Chad Curtis. Ricky Leday, the start in left field, and he comes through. 0 for 5 so far in the postseason, but that's a fair ball down the right field line. Davis and Martinez score. Yanks up by the score of 2-0. Greg Vaughn was traded to the Yankees last year, but the deal was nullified because he didn't pass his physical. And at the top of the third, look at that power to the opposite field. Right center, 2-run shot. Ties the game at 2 runs apiece. Billy Crystal not thrilled. Bottom 4 was still tied. Scott Brosius to center. Steve Finley bobbles it. Brosius digging for a double, and he's out of the mix at second. Tony Gwynn hadn't been to Yankee Stadium before the Padres arrived. Hitting just .220 in the postseason. Look at that. 2-run shot off the upper deck, and the Pods are up by the score of 5-2. Next man up, there's that guy again, Greg Vaughn. Missed a lot of the NLCS with that quad problem. Look at that, his second in the game. Kevin Towers loves it. And San Diego is putting the hurt on the Yankees here. Bottom 7, same score, 1 out. Jorge Posada, base knocked to right. Padre bullpen starting to get loose. Next man up, Kevin Brown walks Leday to put 2 on. Brown comes out after 6 1/3. Bochy comes out to get him. In comes Donnie Wall to face Chuck Knobloch. He had all those issues in the ALCS. And look at this. Is it deep enough or not? There's 2 men on the bases. Out of here for a 3-run home run. Ties the game at 5. Wall comes out. Langston comes in. Bases loaded for Tino Martinez. After the pitching change, Martinez hitting .167 in his career in the postseason. He struggled. And let's listen in. On the 2-2 pitch that could have been strike 3, let's listen in.
And the 3-2. Swung on it, goes deep to right. There it goes. That ball is gone. A grand slam into the upper deck for Tino Martinez. And the Yankees lead 9-5.
Michael Kay with the call on WABC Radio. First World Series Grand Slam since '92, the 17th in World Series history. The Yanks are up 9-5. That's the score. Pods with 2 on and 2 out. Rivera's in the game. Joyner lines a shot to second. Chuck Knobloch. Whoops. Vaughn scores from second. Pods within 3 at 9-6. And they also got the tying run coming to the plate in the person of Steve Finley. But Finley lines sharply to first. Martinez steps on first, and the Yanks win game 1 by the final score of 9-6. David Wells allowed all 5 runs over 7 innings, but won his 6th consecutive postseason start. That's 1 shy of a major league record. Should say he gave up 5 of the 6 runs. Yankees, of course, now lead at 1-0. Game 2 set for tomorrow night.
A jam early, 2 on, 1 out to Ken Caminiti. He's chopping Brock alive. 2 out now. And the next batter is Wally Joyner, and he's coming up big. Deep to right. Paul O'Neill's after it to the wall and yanks it down. We take another look to see how women 18-35 feel about the play. O'Neill kept it in the yard, end of the inning. Bottom of first, no out. The Yanks manufacturing runs. Chuck Knobloch ripping off second base. And 1 out later, he's in position. O'Neill to third. Caminiti, the good catch, the less good throw. Knobloch coming to score. The Yanks are up 1-0. Now the 2 outs. Chili Davis is your batter. Took a while to develop. Bounces up the middle. Scores a run. It's O'Neill coming. 2-0, the Yanks in front. Hernandez had a lot of time to relax and get set for the second. 2 batters later, Scott Brosius rips to left. Davis coming home. The Yanks are up 3-0 after 1. Second inning, Ricky Leday leading off. Solid, going to right. Next batter, it's Knobloch. He's going over to third, off of Caminiti. Would have been a great play to stop it. Every Yankee starter had at least 1 hit. Next batter, Derek Jeter, softly. Kilvio Veras will stop it, but Knobloch is coming to score. 4-0 the Yanks. Dave Stewart, pained. El Duque, relaxed. And out later, Andy Ashby to Bernie Williams. He's going to get his name in the paper. Williams, 9 career postseason home runs, 6-0 the Yankees. Still 6-0. Leday up again, rips that to the corner, had a runner at third, scores the run. His 4th hit in 5 World Series at bats. Tino Martinez scores. Ashby's done. 7-0 the Yanks. Shane Spencer, DNP, manager decision. Then Jorge Posada, home run. 2-run home run, 9-1 Yanks. And the Padres getting torched here. Meanwhile, Hernandez cruising to Greg Vaughn. Another pitch. No, I'm all set. Then in the 7th, Vaughn is up. The bases are loaded, trying to do damage. Had 2 dongs on Saturday. Had an 0-for-4 Sunday. The pop-up here. And Hernandez, 7 innings pitched, just 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts for El Duque, which in Spanish means good pitcher. The Yankees win it by a count of 9-3. The Padres are now 1-6 all time.
Put it, the cow pasture. George, not a fan of what the Chargers did to the field and the dye job that followed to make the field playable. Early on, Padres pitcher Sterling Hitchcock with a moth on his hat. That moth on his cap had the best seat in the house, and he watched this. Chuck Knobloch, the shallow pop. Steve Finley, known for his acrobatics. That's Act 1. Check it out again. Finley, only 7 errors during the regular season. No error there. Great catch. More from Finley in the 2nd. Scott Brosius at the plate. You had the feeling the baseball looked like a beach ball on this day for Brosius. Here was a start. Only Finley would save that from being a hit. Bottom 2nd, no score. Bruce Bochy isn't stressed out yet. Ken Caminiti hitting .205 in the postseason. Not looking good there against Cohn's breaking stuff. Top of the 3rd, no score. David Cohn up. Cohn gets the bat on it, flies out to Greg Vaughn in left. You know, opponents on their first trip through the lineup are 0-for-31 against Hitchcock in the postseason. Would that matter? We thought so. Top of the 6th, still no score. Cohn on 2nd. Derek Jeter at the plate. Nobody out. Hitchcock gets Jeter. 7 Ks in 6 innings for Sterling. Paul O'Neill up next. Looking for space, finds it up the middle. But wait a minute, Cohn is on the base pass. You better hold him up at 3rd. Finley's throw up the line a bit. Bases loaded now for Bernie Williams. Is only 1 out. Good move, right? Bernie's up, right? Whips on the splitter. 32 Ks in 22 innings in the postseason for Hitchcock. That's how they count him here. Game 1 hero Tino Martinez. Not this time with the bases loaded. Tino pops up, and the threat is over for the Yankees as Cohn was stranded the entire inning on base. Would that matter? Bottom 6, no score. Remember, Cohn spent the entire top of the inning on base. Would he be tired? Hitchcock gets to him with a leadoff single. The first hit allowed by Cohn. There goes the no-hitter. He had one after 5. 2 on for Tony Gwynn. Professional hitter. Look at Paul O'Neill. Just 4 errors during the regular season. Who was he throwing to exactly there? Kilvio Veras would come home on that misplay. 2-0 San Diego. Take another look. We're spot shadowing Knobloch at 2nd. He had his hand up, so perhaps O'Neill thought Knobloch wanted the ball. The throw sails over Nobby's head, and the Pods would go on to score 3 in that inning. O'Neill and Nobby would talk about the miscommunication. Top of the 7th, 3-0 San Diego. Scott Brosius tuned into the Psychic Network because he said he knew the fastball was coming from Sterling Hitchcock. Suddenly, it's just a 2-run ball game, 3-1 San Diego. 2 batters later, Joey Hamilton now pitching. Yanks, runner on 3rd, pinch hitter Chili Davis. Opposite way, Caminiti can't get it. He is playing hurt. He is a warrior, but sometimes warriors have to sit. 3-2 Yanks. Yanks runners on 1st and 2nd, same inning. Big spot for Jeter. Up the middle he goes. Look at Chris Gomez. Good extension, good concentration. And then he doubles off Homer Bush, and the Pods hang on to a 1-run lead. Top 8, after a leadoff walk, Trevor Hoffman gets the call in his first World Series appearance on 6 days rest. And Hoffman would walk Tino Martinez. He couldn't get his changeup over. It had Dave Stewart concerned. Runners on 1st and 2nd. Scott Brosius. Deep impact, the sequel. He just belted a Hoffman fastball over the wall. The Yankees up 5-3 on Brosius' 2nd homer of the game, his 4th of the postseason. Bottom 8, Mariano Rivera facing Greg Vaughn. Runners on the corners. And Vaughn trying to play hero. He gets the ball deep. Would it be deep enough? No, but it counts for a sac fly. 1 run comes in to score. It's a 5-4 Yankee lead. Next batter, Ken Caminetti. Runner on first. Caminetti hurting big time, and so were the Padres. Yanks still led by 1 after 8. Bottom 9, after a single by Carlos Hernandez, John Vanderwall, the Padres' best pinch hitter. What was he doing pinch running?
At first base.
Mark Sweeney up next to pinch hit, but Sweeney gets the job done. Singles to right, Vanderwall to third. But wait a minute, with your best pinch hitter on the base pass in Vanderwall, that meant defensive replacement Andy Sheets had to face the heat of Mariano Rivera, and you know what? No contest. That's it. The Yankees take a 3-0 lead. Scott Brosius, the obvious hero in Game 3. Wow. Win number 124 for the Yanks this season. One more win, they notch World Series number 24. Scott Brosius, 7 for 13 in this series. He's just hitting .538. Among the keys for the Yanks, patience at the plate. 12 of their 23 runs in this series have come after the 6th inning.
This is the most determined team I've been around. Facing Kevin Brown, Brown's heater, maybe the best movement in the game. Hey, the first pitch from a guy whose career pitching record at Southern Cal was 7-5, and whose 2.93 ERA at Southern Cal, better than teammate Randy Johnson. Bottom 2, 96 Yankee World Series hero Jim Leyritz, 4 homers in the postseason against Andy Pettitte. The 2-2 pitch barely missed. The 3-2 pitch barely missed. Leyritz walks. Next batter, another former Yankee, Ruben Rivera, the guy who went to San Diego in the Arabu trade. Comebacker off Pettitte's glove. Derek Jeter cannot get to it. Infield single, Rivera blew up a 3-for-4 night. Next batter, Pettitte, whose dad's recovering from double bypass surgery, schools Carlos Hernandez on the curve, one of 4 Pettitte Ks. After a walk to Chris Gomez, loads the bases. Kevin Brown, who had a nice .286 postseason batting average coming in, tries for the bunt, gunned down by Joe Girardi. Yanks get out of a jam. Top 4, no score. Chuck Knobloch fouls the pitch down at third baseline. You know you're large when you hit 70 homers, throw out the first pitch, and barehand the foul ball. Shades of McGuire's 1990 Gold Glove. You know, if he didn't get it, Paul Molitor next to him, 8th all-time on the batting list, he might have grabbed it. Bottom 4, Ruben Rivera trying to be a player. Derek Jeter, player-hating. Sick play. That's why Jeter only had 9 errors all year. Pettitte, a one-hitter through 4. Top 6, no score still. Derek Jeter batting and doing mad work. High chopper to short. Gomez, nice play, but Jeter safe at first. That's why DJ had 203 hits in the regular season. Take another look. Gomez, great pick. Jeter's O's got wheels. Derek, the first Yankee with 200 hits since Steve Sachs back in 1989. Next batter, Paul O'Neill. Hell of your business, kid. O'Neill hit just .211 in the series, but he laced a double there. Jeter held up at third. Next batter, Bernie Williams. Bernie, he had a rough World Series, just 1 for 16, but he bigs up. High chopper back to the mound. Brown throws to first for the out. Jeter scores Bernie's 8th RBI of the postseason. Take a look at Bernie's reaction. Nice hustle from the American League batting champ. Thought he beat the throw, still got the RBI. Bottom 7, still 1-0. Padre fans hoping their team avoids becoming the first series sweep victim since the A's in 1990. Carlos Hernandez, chopper back to Pettitte, gets Rivera caught between second and third. Rivera tagged out. Bruce Bochy not happy about the base running. Top 8 still 1-0. Jeter on first, no outs. O'Neill batting, a chopper to first. Leyritz decides to take it himself. Could have thrown it to Brown, he didn't. O'Neill beat him to the base. Chuck Knobloch is probably thinking, whew, now they can question his judgment at first. Padres disagree with Tim Cheetah's call. Bochy, Brown, Leyritz, all livid. Take another look at the play. Close call, but probably the right call. Now then, they intentionally walked Tino Martinez, who was just 1 for 13 in the postseason with runners in scoring position, to get to Scott Brosius, who led the American League with runners in scoring position. Brosius, can I get some action from the back section? 15th postseason RBI. He said later it was just a great scene. Yanks would lead 3-0 after a sac fly. Brown sarcastically tipped his hat to Cheetah at the end of the inning. Bottom 8, Pettitte walked Kilvio Veras to start the inning. And then Tony Gwynn. TG was banging. Guy went 8 for 16 in the World Series. Best pure hitter in the game today. One of the best ever. Pettitte, 101 pitches, 7 Ks, 5 hits, no runs, a lot of props. First and second, no outs. Fans looking for a rally. Jeff Nelson sat down Greg Vaughn. Then Mariano Rivera came in, a record .56 career ERA in the postseason. Got hit by Ken Caminetti. Caminetti hit just 143, but he came up large then. Next batter, Jim Leyritz. Hard liner to center. Bernie Williams makes a nice basket catch to end the inning. Andy Pettit, bottom 9, still 3-zip. Hernandez at bat with the man on first. Hernandez grounds into a 6-4-3 double play. David Wells, Mr. Perfection, geeked. 1 out to go. For the final out, WABC Radio's John Sterling.
The stretch and pitch. Hit on the ground on a hop to Brosius. Fields, throws across, in time. Ball game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Said Scott Brosius, I think the biggest moment is that third out, throwing the ball and knowing it's going to end the game and end the season. Fittingly, Brosius got the last out. Brosius, your MVP. Yankees win the game 3-zip. They win the World Series in a 4-game sweep. Their 24th World Series title, most of any pro sports franchise, better than the Montreal Canadiens' 23. It was New York's 7th World Series sweep. And get this, the last 6 times that Kentucky has won the NCAA basketball championship, the Yankees have won the World Series. As for the Pods, it's the 7th straight World Series game they've lost. San Diego now 1-8 all-time in the World Series, the worst record of any team that's made the series. Get this, the Yankees, they won the last 4 games in the '96 series against the Braves, so they have now won 8 straight World Series games. Those are all the raw numbers. As for the feelings, the emotions of the game, let's hand off to Chris Berman and company in San Diego.
All right, Stu, thank you very much, and welcome to San Diego along with Peter Gammons and Harold Reynolds. Start spreading the news. The New York Yankees, sweeping the Padres, winning 3-0, are the world champions for the 24th time, the 16th time it has been done in a 4-game sweep. And we begin to understand, we've understood it all year, but guys, we begin to understand the depth of the excellence of the Yankees because they did it every sort of way, Peter.
And they did, and especially the depth of the pitching staff. I mean, they allowed 1 run in the series against Texas. Their starters were down 2-1 against Cleveland, and who comes back? Hernandez, Wells, Cone. They could have lost game 1 against San Diego, and then Hernandez, Cone, Pettit all pitched brilliantly. They had the middle relief, and Mariano Rivera, 10 appearances, 6 for 6 in saves, not 1 run in the postseason. That's great 1 to 10 pitching.
Well, it's incredible. You know, we'll all talk about Joe Torre an awful lot, but what a coaching staff. Mel Stoudemire with the pitching staff, Don Zimmer on his bench, Willie Randolph always aggressive at third base. I mean, these guys were tremendous. Their scouting was tremendous. You see how many balls they hit at people, and there was somebody standing there, Jeter making great plays. I mean, it was a special thing to see, but he handled his coaching staff and his players to perfection.
And they were pressed, obviously, after the Knobloch game and the 2-1 trailing to Cleveland. They trailed in 2 of the games in the World Series, the pivotal first game, obviously, and the pivotal third game, which could have turned some things around. But the man that turned the third game around, the man that went 8 for 17 in the World Series, 6 RBIs and the 2 homers in Game 3, Scott Brosius, the MVP, with our Carl Ravitch. Ravi.
With the most valuable player of the 1998 World Series. Wow, what a difference a year makes, huh?
You absolutely could not ask for more of a turnaround than what's happened here. You know, last year was as difficult as any year has been to go through, and sometimes you wonder why you're going through the battle and you know, what the outcome's going to be. But for this to happen and to come over to this team and to come out and win a championship just feels awesome.
Obviously, the numbers were mind-boggling in the World Series, but even when you made outs, you still hit the ball hard. Did you know during Game 1 of the World Series that you were sort of at a different level offensively?
Not really. You know, I just kind of carried the same thing that I carried all year. I just wanted to be solid out there. Just try to go out and do my job, not try to do anything unbelievable and do more than I'm capable of. So, you know, again, I just, you know, they were an aggressive pitching staff, and I just tried to go up there and be aggressive with them.
Your being named the MVP is so symbolic of what this team represents, and the fact that when you consider who could have technically been an MVP, it ends up being a guy who wasn't here last year and certainly isn't the highest paid player on this team. Tell me about what it's like to be a member of this 98 club.
Well, this team is such a special team. I mean, I've never been around a group of guys like this, and it's just a privilege to be on this team. You know, the talent on this team goes without saying. Everybody knows the type of players we have here, but the character of the guys on this team is just at another level. And from the day 1 of spring training coming over here, all the talk was just on team goals, focus of getting to the postseason and trying to win a championship. There's just no individual goals talk at all, and it was so refreshing to come over, you know, around a group of guys like that.
Obviously, now the next question, especially in New York, is what do you do for an encore? And that being said, a lot of pressure on Brian Cashman to sort of keep this team together. Obviously, you'd like to see that, but how likely do you think that is?
Well, you know, I don't know. Those are the type of things that as players, you know, sometimes they go in the back of your mind, but they're decisions that really aren't in our hands. So there's something, you know, for me, I just don't think about it too much. If I can't control it, why worry about it?
Exactly. Nothing to worry about after your performance.
Series.
Yankees just played great baseball. They're the most balanced club I think I've ever seen. I mean, they do a lot of things well, and we saw it in this series. Their hitters were very patient. Their pitchers threw strikes. Defensively, they played, you know, they had one really glaring mistake, and that was last night, and they still were able to overcome it. And so, you know, the best team in baseball won. And I don't feel bad. I think we honestly gave them a good effort. You know, we went out and we did some things. We had them down one in games 1 and 3. And they were able to bounce back and play like a champion. And I tip my cap.
I know you guys were banged up, but I also know you well enough. You're not going to make excuses.
No, not at all. You know, like I said, games 1 and 3, we did some good things. You know, we hit some home runs or we, you know, scrambled and put some runs on the board. And they were late, and they still, you know, were very patient at the plate and did what they had to do. And so, you know, you hate to lose 4-0 like we did, but I'm not ashamed. You know, we had a heck of a year, but, you know, in this series, I just think the Yankees were better, and they're champs and deserve it.
Tony, last question. So hard to get back to this place, to play for the ring, and then all of a sudden 4 crushing losses.
Yeah, 4 in a row, and boom, it's over, you know. And that's going to be hard to get used to, I think, this winter. And when you look back on it, yeah, I don't think there's a thing I would change, though. You know, I mean, we had to fight hard to get here. Nobody thought we'd be here. You know, we beat a couple of good clubs to get here, and we just ran up into a buzzsaw. I mean, the Yankees were rolling. Every part of their game, I think, was, you know, in sync, and they were doing the things they needed to do to win, and they did.
America loves you.
Well, thank you.
All right. Back to the studio.
League stars squared off against Japanese counterparts. Konnichiwa. Carlos Delgado has just left the building. First inning. Third inning. Sammy Sosa down the line. I believe that was 139 mile per hour. Well, kilometers. Sosa went 3 for 4. Fernando Vina, Jason Kendall. Score. Kumbawa. Delgado the other way. And as you can clearly see, Major Leaguers win it by the final of 10-7. Manny Ramirez and Garrett Anderson also chipped in with RBIs.
USA versus Japan baseball, top 1, no score. Sammy Sosa up with a man on third. He gave bows all around after hitting 1 home run in this series. Deep to left, and it's caught. Still drives in Andrew Jones. Sosa making a bid for that MVP. USA leads 1-0. Bottom 1, Al Leiter gives up a big fat jack to Hideki Matsui. Matsui, the leading home run hitter in the Central League. Top 9, Akinori, Atsuka, schools Javi Lopez to end the game. Japan wins 6-2. USA leads the best.
Continuing their stint in Japan, fellow Scorpio Sammy Sosa, along with help from some kids, helping celebrate his 30th birthday. Happy birthday, Sammy. 2 runners on. Andrew Jones almost hits into a 5-4-3 triple play, but Jones beats the throw to first. Top 9, 1-0 USA. Sammy Sosa likes this pitch opposite way. Will it be over the wall? It's off the wall. For a double, Sosa would later score. Bottom 9, 1 out. Japan down 2-0, 2 runners on. Guess who's on the mound? Trevor Hoffman gets Hideki Matsui to line into the 4-6 double play to end the game. It's a victory, a 2-0 victory for the Major League All-Stars.